Working for a dream for 20 years and you finally get it accomplished. I mean, can you tell us what that feels like?
Honestly, my mind's just so blown. I don't think it's hit me yet, but it's been a long journey. It's been one of those things where ever since I was a child, me and my dad would watch UFC. I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And the sports have grown a lot since then. That was about when it first came out, and just to watch that and then to now be a part of that, as obviously wasn't just watching it and jumping to it. It was a long journey. It was wins, losses, a lot of hard work. I've competed in combat sports for my entire life, taekwondo, wrestling. Once I started fighting, obviously done jiu-jitsu and all the other sports too, combative sports. But I mean, it's right now. I've been telling my wife it hasn't hit me yet. I'll probably wake up in the middle of the night, probably start crying and just be like completely, I don't know, all over the place. But right now it's just, I don't think there's anything I can say to justify what it feels like to actually make this happen.
This is a show about prospects, right? But you're 18-5 coming in. I mean, you got 23 fights under your belt. I mean, at some point along the way, do you start saying, maybe it's not for me, maybe I'm not going to make it? Do you ever start thinking maybe it's not going to materialize for you?
That part happened when there's a point where I had lost, I think I had lost 3 of my last 4 fights, and this was like a while ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago. I fight so often that it happened pretty quick, building back up. But at that point it was like, man, I have to go back to, I'll have to get a job again and start working as a construction project manager again. And my wife wouldn't let me do that. My family wouldn't let me do that. My coaches wouldn't let me do that. Wouldn't let me do it, but they encouraged me to keep fighting. And then once I hit this streak, and I was like, there's no way I'm not going to be in the UFC. I was determined, regardless, one way or the other, whether it be a last-minute call, like 2 days out, a fight, or Contender Series, didn't matter to me. I was determined to make it a reality, not just for me, but for everybody that supports me and watches me, my family, friends, teammates, coaches, everybody from where I live. And I did it for all of us.
I thought you looked really good tonight, but you were in there with a really tough guy. I mean, what did you think about the fight itself and your performance?
Absolutely. Ray is a tough guy. Like I said, we both have 20, I think he had 20, so we're in the 20-plus fights. And honestly, I feel like that we both could have been on a UFC card. I feel like that's something that we could have easily either fought each other on the UFC card or been on the same card fighting somebody else. But, I said before, I want it to be I've gotten to a point now where when it comes to like the hard stuff in this journey, I start to I want the hard stuff. So this fight, probably one of the toughest fights I could get on the Contender Series. I'd say we had the most fights out of everybody. So I was ready for whatever it took to get it, because it would feel that much better once when this time comes.
Yeah. Lastly for me, I know you've been focused solely on tonight, but now you get to make your UFC debut. I heard some people throwing out Washington D.C. in December as a spot. Is that the goal?
There's a couple of different ones. I like to. I think they're going to be in Boston in October. I'm on the East Coast. I fought a lot of fights in the Northeast, so I've got a pretty good support system up there. Madison Square Garden would be great. Fought in New York a couple times, but D.C. would obviously be the closest to where I live, and I would be able to. People that have been telling me, yeah, when you have your first year, when you have your debut, I'm going to be there. So now they get the opportunity to actually do it because it's not too far from where I live.
Ray's a really hard guy to take down. He's a hard guy to hold on the ground and hard to hold against the cage. But you did it, and it was impressive. What was that like? What were you feeling in there?
I train with some of the best wrestlers in the country, some in the world. I trained at Virginia Tech at their Southeast Regional Training Center. So every day, 4 days a week, well, at least 4 days a week, I'm training against guys that are really good wrestlers, better wrestlers than me. So wrestling is all about controlling your opponent. So it's just another day. I usually do that for 2 hours. So to do it for 15 minutes is not as bad, but I'm used to that. I'm used to that grind, and the way I see it is, if you're fighting a takedown, you're exerting energy, and my energy is gonna stay the same. as far as my mindset and my gas tank. So the more they're fighting to defend, the more tired they're going to get. And once I get them down, they're going to be exhausted.
He's also a really tough guy to submit. He got out of some pretty sketchy situations where it looked like you might have had something locked in. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I thought I had that choke and I couldn't get my hand out, and then I got my hand out and I thought I had it, but he slipped out. But yeah, he's definitely tough, and there's no doubt about it. I have a lot of respect for him. His grappling, he's higher belt in grappling than I am. So I know he knows some slick stuff. I know some slick wrestling, he knows slick jiu-jitsu. But it was, I expected him to be tough to submit.
And I'll ask you the same question. There were a few scrambles where he got into a dominant position, tried to work the submission. Did anything come close? Because you seemed to get out of there pretty quickly.
No, I don't think anything came close. I mean, like I said, I get in scrambles a lot with wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I mean, they're both the same. Obviously, you don't have to worry about submissions in wrestling, but I get there a lot, and just staying composed, knowing your way out. I've heard somebody say, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So when it comes to submissions, and I've been out of my entire fight career of fighting, I've been in a lot of wrestling situations where I've been put in submissions. Some I wasn't so lucky to get out of, but a lot I have gotten out of. So I'm familiar with getting out of submissions and staying composed.
Actually, one more. So this season, we've seen a lot of guys come out, lose a couple of rounds, and then win impressively in the third, especially with that flying knee. And I feel like you came out in the third, like, nah, not me. It's not gonna happen again.
It's funny. My wife, I think she had a dream that we went out to touch gloves, and he flying kneed me, knocked me out like the first round. So the very first thing she said, "You gotta keep your hands up. You gotta keep your hands." She was like, "You gotta make sure you keep your hands up when you touch gloves." And obviously, yeah, we did see a lot of flying knees. Masvidal and a couple of the other guys on the Contender Series hit some nice knees, and so we worked knees with my coaches. We'll work defending knees, and it worked. Just stuck a stiff jab out there, and his feet came off the under.
I've never seen that. What actually happened? Like, did you connect really hard?
Yeah, I connected. Well, I don't know if it was just more of like a stiff and he ran into it or what, but I just saw him coming, so I jabbed, and before he could get off the ground and start hitting him, so then by the time he got off the ground, he kind of played on his back a little bit. So.
Tony, I just want to say one thing. DMV stand-up. I'm from DMV as well. Can you speak just briefly on just what your life means to you, what this contract means to you and your family, and bring it back to DMV?
What was the first?
What does this contract mean for you and your family and your wife?
It's like I said, I started fighting because I love to fight. It's what I've been born. Well, not born. Kind of born to do. My dad, taught me Taekwondo from a little age, so I was pretty much could walk. So fighting is more of like a love than doing it for the money. But the fact that we sacrifice so much to make this what is a hobby for most people, a career, and be able to be able to do this and train without having to sacrifice so much of an income cut. Beginning in 2016, I quit my job as a construction project manager to fight full time, which means we have one income coming in, and it's been pretty rough. But now, obviously being in the UFC, the contract itself, I probably could have went any other promotion, not any other promotion, but other bigger promotions. That's not what I wanted, though. I wanted to be in the UFC. This is what I have had my eyes set on. So the fact that I actually get paid more than, probably more than if I had a job, the opportunity of getting paid more is just a plus. So I still get to do what I love, and I get to make more money as long as I'm winning and doing well, obviously. It's great. It's like I said, a dream come true.